foul. That was absolutely ridiculous.
The Boston Bruins have won the Stanley Cup.
Up on down. Here comes a 1-2 pitch. Red Sox win the World Series.
I don't know. It's tough. Tom's up there, man. Being tough.
Ladies and gentlemen, evacuating for Boston.
What is going on YouTube? This is Boy Justin Mania on YouTube and from Beantown Taste. Back in another reaction video! Red Seat Radio. Top 3 free agents the Red Sox need to sign this upcoming season. Huge successful year for the Red Sox, even though they did not make it to the ALDS. They made it to the playoffs, even after all of the doubts in everybody's mind, especially after the Devers trade. All adversity, backs against the wall, they still found a way to make it to the playoffs, and it was a huge, successful year for the Red Sox. It was a step in the right direction for the players. I really thought that the young players, for the most part, handled the pressure very well, even though the front office and ownership put them in this situation where there was so much pressure on those young guys early on in their careers. I thought, for the most part, they handled it very well. And everything that happened out of their control did happen with injuries and everything else. But they made the playoffs, so that's a step in the right direction for them. And now this is a big, big offseason for the Red Sox. And we're going to know a lot more about this front office after this offseason. Because now the question is, what are they going to do? This team just made it to the postseason, even despite injuries and everything else, and despite the fact that Craig Breslow in front office and the ownership tried to sell them the season, they still made the playoffs. So now, what is it? Got a young core here. There's obviously some needs, there's some glaring needs for this team to become World Series contenders. Do they do it? Or do they remain on that same path where they're going to go the cheap route? It's all about the money for them. They don't care if they win a championship or not. And whatever happens, happens. I really hope it's not that option. I really hope they go out there and they are really aggressive with free agency. And I really hope that they bring in quite a few pieces. And by quite a few, I mean 2 big bats and a starting pitcher. That's my ideal offseason for them. Get themselves 2 power bats. Both of them, for me at least, are in free agency. The starting pitcher is via trade. Could they potentially get a bat via trade too? Sure. There's some guys that I could think about where they could be trades that could come onto this team and be a big impact. But for me at least, the bats are in free agency, the pitching is via trade. The bats are Pete Alonso and Kyle Schwarber. The pitching is Joe Ryan. If they can get Tariq Skubal, great. That's even better. If they can find a way to get Paul Skeens, phenomenal. But, for me at least, the pitching is more via trade. And the realistic option is Joe Ryan for this team. But we're going to react to Red Seat Radio here. Top 3 free agents for him that the Red Sox need to sign. I think him and I are going to agree on Kyle Schwarber and Pete Alonso. I've seen the expectation for Pete Alonso's contract is around 7 years, $210 million. If you're the Red Sox, get it done. Get that done. It's a fair contract for Pete Alonso. It's actually a pretty good contract for the Red Sox. It's $30 million a year AAV. He's played in 162 games the last 2 seasons. He's always hitting bare minimum 35 home runs. And he's obviously always hitting 100 RBIs every single year. Bare minimum. He's very consistent on the field. And he's not injury prone. So for me at least, with Pete Alonso, 7 years at 210. Some people are going to say that might be an overpay. But it's not an exaggerated overpay. I think it's fair for both sides there. Then Kyle Schwarber, he's 35 years old or whatever. I wouldn't give him more than 4 years. He's more of just going to be a DH. So, 4 years, maybe 20 million around there. 25 million should get the job done. Then obviously they got to go out and re-sign Bregman. That's another thing that they need to really do. I didn't put Bregman on there because, like, he was already on the team. So, like, that's more of an extension than it is anything. But that's definitely a big, important one for them also. Huge offseason. Should be a lot of spending for the Red Sox. Big market team in the sport. They're the most expensive ticket in baseball. They got to put their money where their mouth is this offseason. And they have to go out and build themselves a championship contender. So we're going to react to this video here. Leave a thumbs up if you guys enjoy these videos. God, now if you guys are new, you guys know what to do. Go check out our website. The link is in the description down below. If you guys want to be notified whenever we drop an upload, hit that notification bell so you can be the first one to watch these videos. Without further ado, see what Red Seat Radio has for us.
Who should the Red Sox bring in for 2026? We're about to find out.
Veins, say done.
What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. Thank you very much for clicking on this video. Ladies and gentlemen, the Boston Red Sox, they need to make some moves this offseason, right? They're getting close to being that dominant competitive team we are hoping for, but they're not quite there yet. You know, another team that should be making a lot of moves this offseason, the New York Yankees. I mean, those guys were just totally outmatched in every single way in this ALDS. Felt kind of good to see, and I'm not exactly the biggest fan of the Toronto Blue Jays. I mean, that was just a brutal series for the Yankees. But not the point of this video. Very funny point, but not the point of this video.
Right.
We got to figure out who the Red Sox should bring in this offseason. And obviously, there's quite a long list of guys that could help this team. So we're going to...
All right, so let's read the free agents. Fully expect... I don't know if Story opts in. No. Had a good year. Had a really good year with the Sox. I don't know if he opts in. If he don't opt in, then obviously they got to keep Story also. Just simply because last year he had a great year. Maybe he can build off that, bring up the OPS. Maybe get a little bit of a better batting average. But, yeah, got to keep Trevor Story if he hits the open market. Gotta keep Bregman. Pete Alonso, $29 million a year. Yeah, that sounds about right. Because I had him at $30 million. So, not slight overpay, but like, you should be offering him around 30. Tucker's a free agent, but I mean, you don't really need an outfielder. Would be cool to have him on this team, though. I mean, 29, I mean, would be nice to have him on this team, but you don't necessarily need him. Kyle Schwarber, he's at 25 million around there. I think I said 20. So I'm right around that ballpark with him as well. Oh, he's actually turning 33 this year. Okay, that's not as bad as I thought it was. So maybe if you go fifth year with him, fine. Because the way I view it, if he's just going to be DH, the bat should stay the way it is towards his late 30s. And he's had no signs of slowing down anytime soon. So maybe I go a fifth year for Schwarber. But it probably wouldn't be any more than 5, though, for him. So, That's how I would look at it. You got to keep Trevor Story. You got to keep Bregman. Go get Schwarber. And go get Pete Alonso. I have no faith in Tristan Casas at all. I'm sorry.
Narrow it down to 3 names on this list, but first we got to talk about some honorable mentions because there are some guys in here that might not make the list but could be a potential impact, and specifically I want to put 2 guys in the honorable mention category. I want to put the guys that are on this Red Sox team right now who could end up testing the free agent market, specifically Alex Bregman and Trevor Story, because if both those guys end up opting out, which is still up in the air right now, right? I think it's pretty likely Trevor Story opts into the last couple of years of his contract. Bregman feels a bit more likely, but I do still think there's a real world in which he ends up opting in for a second year as well. However, both those guys hit the free agent market. You got to find a way to bring at least one of those guys back, right? Specifically, I think you have to bring Alex Bregman back. I get it. He was extraordinarily mediocre since coming back from his injury, but at the same time, too, if he does opt out, he certainly won't be coming back for $40 million, right? It'll be a little bit less, probably significantly less if we're being honest. Be more of a longer-term contract, probably in that 25 to 30 range, which would save the Red Sox some money. Plus, you trade Rafael Devers for this guy. He is still a legitimate impact baseball player, I think, at the end of the day. And 3, you saw what he did to the other players on this team, right? You're not just paying $26, $27, $28 million for Alex Bregman. You're paying $26, $27, $28 for everyone else to be an improved player, right? I mean, Nathaniel Lowe.
And essentially, you chose him over your franchise player. Not saying it was for good or bad, but with how the Devers thing ended up, you basically pissed your franchise player out the door for not handling things the right way. With him, at least. I'm not saying that the decision to put Bregman at third base over Devers is wrong. I'm just simply saying that the communication and the way they went about it was the wrong way to go about it. Because you pissed him off so much with the way you handled it to the point where you had to trade him, you have to keep him. You have to keep Bregman around because if you lose Devers and Bregman, that's not a good look for the Red Sox.
Jose Don Rafaela, Jarren Duran, Roman Anthony, they all gave credit to Alex Bregman when they had really great stretches this season. Even Trevor Story was talking about how better he became with Alex Bregman on this team. So you got to bring that dude back. Trevor Story opts out. I mean, I would love to have him back, but then you start having a conversation of, hey, is Bo Bichette a name that maybe you could go out and get, right? Is that a guy who could potentially be a second baseman for you for the foreseeable future? That would be really, really fun, right? So really, it's 3 honorable mentions here: Bregman, Story, and potentially Bo Bichette. And we'll have a Bo Bichette conversation if it opens up. But those are just the honorable mentions.
Hey, there's a shortstop who had a great postseason this year. Oh, God, what team is he on? I think he's on, I don't know, the San Diego Padres.
Oh, we got 2 quick ones, and they're both right.
Oh, man.
If you can find a way to get him in a trade and have that team eat some of his money, that'd be great. I know I would personally love it. Bring him back for a homecoming. He's always played well here in Fenway. Loves the Boston crowd. I think his swing could fit very well in Fenway Park. I mean, it's been proven already. Maybe him coming back to the place that he started gets him back in the right tracks. I don't know. That's just a suggestion, Red Sox.
So let's get into our top 3 targets right now for this Red Sox team. Coming in number 3, I have starting pitcher Dylan Cease. Now, the immediate reaction to this is going to be, Corbin, what the hell? Right? You take a look at the back of the baseball card, it's not exactly incredible numbers. This dude had a 4.55 ERA this season. That can't be a very good pitcher. And honestly, I don't disagree with you, right? I do think this was a bit of a down year for Dylan Cease. But at the same time, too, when you're looking at what a pitcher could be over the next, let's say, 3 or 4 years, right? What is that going to look like? You got to take a look at something outside of just the simple ERA, right? You got to take a look under the hood, so to say. Now, under the hood, a little bit of a different story. His FIP this season was lower than his ERA, 3.56. I mean, that's significantly lower, right? That's almost a run lower than what his ERA led on, which meant individually he was pitching a bit better than his ERA leads on. 2, he was fantastic at missing bats this season, a whiff rate of 33.4%. That was in the 95th percentile among Major League Baseball, putting him in the elite category. Chase rate of 31% in the 80th percentile, and a strikeout rate of 29.8% in the 89th percentile. In fact, a lot of his under the hood metrics indicate that he still has the potential to be a very good starting pitcher. The one sort of tough metric here is that walk rate, and I do think the Red Sox can help him get back in the zone a little bit more than he has over the last couple of seasons. Couple of examples of that. I think Garrett Crochet, right? He was fantastic at hitting the zone this season. Aroldis Chapman, what the Red Sox were able to do with him this season, really transformed his entire game. Right now, the thing you have to remember here is that the Red Sox don't need
Bayo's
an
a good
ace,
one too.
right? They have one of those guys. It's different than last offseason. They have one of the best 2, 3, 4 pitchers in the entire sport manning the top of this rotation. What they need is a solid, experienced number 2, or even potentially an experienced number 3 if they're that confident in who Brian Bayo can be going forward, right? So you sit there and you say, where can you get that? Well, Dylan Cease could be that legitimate answer, especially under a regime Andrew Bailey and Craig Breslow have sort of built for themselves. On top of that, you talk about, okay, you need an experienced arm. Well, Dylan Cease has been in the league for a pretty decent amount of time. He's also been a bit of a workhorse during that time span as well. Dating back to 2021, Dylan Cease has made at least 32 starts in that year, and in that time span, he has a 3.72 ERA with a 3.37 FIP and a 1.14 ERA plus. Even if this isn't holy crap that is legitimate ace numbers, this is still a very solid starting pitcher and would immediately raise the ceiling of the Boston Red Sox. Not to mention, he has a 1.62 ERA in 3 starts at Fenway Park. Now, that's a little bit of a small sample size, and really, I don't know if that's going to have a huge impact on whether or not he comes to the Red Sox, but definitely something to note here. Again,
if that shortstop that I mentioned earlier stays in San Diego, and then we lose Dylan Cease to the Sox, oh boy, I can only imagine what my group chat's going to look like. Damn.
He's 30 years old, so I wouldn't be going out there giving him, 6 years, $260 million or whatever. But if you could pick him up on a 3 or 4 year contract, you can get sort of the prime of his 30s, right? Which I don't know if that's a thing, but you guys understand what I'm saying. This could be a great addition to the Boston Red Sox. But before we get to our 2 and our 1 here, we got to hear from today's sponsor. Because I have to tell you, if there's a surefire way to feel better the next morning after drinks with friends, it's pre-alcohol. Way cooler, which is like reason. Why would you bring in a guy like absolutely? Number 2 on my list right now is Kyle Tucker.
That's pretty interesting.
And wait a second,
Whoa. Really? So either Schwarber or Alonso is not going to make this list. Wow. I am kind of shocked at that. I like it, but I'm shocked. I wonder if he's going to say here that you're going to be trading 2 or 3 of the outfielders. No. 1 or 2 of the outfielders. That's the math wasn't math in there. I didn't go to college for a math degree. I wonder if he's going to say if you're trading 1 or 2 of the outfielders to open up a spot for him. Because if that's the case, yeah, I mean, why not, right? If you're going to be trading Willie Abreu for, like, Joe Ryan, like if Willie Abreu's got to be in that deal for Joe Ryan, and then maybe Duran's going to be a piece to get a first baseman, something like that, then, like, yeah, that opens it up. I'm kind of shocked, though, because Tucker, for me, for the Sox, yeah, it'd be cool, but, like, it doesn't make all the sense? Not really.
This makes absolutely no sense. The Red Sox, they have so many outfielders right now. Why would you bring in a guy like Kyle Tucker? Well, it's kind of the same conversation as bringing in a guy like Kyle Schwarber, right? Kyle Schwarber hits a lot of home runs. He was incredibly fun with the Boston Red Sox. A lot of people say he should have never left. The problem with Kyle Schwarber is, yes, he hits a lot of home runs, but he also strikes out a whole bunch and doesn't put a ton of balls in play. Kyle Tucker, kind of the exact opposite of that. He's
You know what I just thought of too? Wait a minute. Wait. Time out. Hold on. Time out, people. What if... Now, I'm not saying this is a great idea, because this dude is up for Gold Glove this year. What if Willie Abreu becomes a DH and Tucker goes to the outfield? And then they trade Duran for Joe Ryan. Interesting. Hold on. Now that could be a play. That could be a play. Do I agree with it? Nah. But that's where it would make sense, at least. Because I don't think you're going to bring Kyle Tucker in to be a DH. I just don't think that's going to be the case. That doesn't make any sense. He'll probably be left field. Then you have Roman Anthony in right, and then you got, say, Don in center.
Going to hit you home runs. In fact, over his last 4 seasons, he's been a 30 home run, 100 RBI pace player.
Yeah,
on top
solid.
of that, in his 2 seasons where he played almost every single game, he was a 30 home run player with 100 plus RBIs, right? So you're getting that home run potential in Kyle Tucker, but you're also getting something, in my opinion, that could be just as valuable, and that's that he is a complete hitter. Right, there isn't really a part of his game at the plate where you're sitting there saying, you're going to have to figure out how to balance that out in the rest of the lineup. He quite literally fixes every single problem the Red Sox have offensively right now. Need a little thump? Kyle Tucker's going to bring that. Need some clutch moments? Kyle Tucker's going to bring that. But on top of that, too, you need to cut down on strikeouts. Right, it was a massive problem last season for the Red Sox. It was a massive problem this season for the Red Sox, especially with runners in scoring position. Kyle Tucker is one of the most difficult strikeouts in the entire sport. This season, he had a 14.6% walk rate. He had a 14.7% strikeout rate, striking out almost less than he was walking. Good for the 85th percentile Major League Baseball.
That's really
what
it is.
And he doesn't whiff. Contact and power combined. Yeah, I want that here
well,
at
I don't
Fenway
disagree
Park.
with
Imagine
him
a lineup
with
that
his
has
pick.
Roman Anthony and Kyle Tucker back to back in it. I mean, that would be a ton of contact. That would be a ton of power. That would be a ton of legitimate enforcement in the middle of this order.
I understand what he's saying.
It's going to be incredibly difficult to figure out how you're going to play this guy every day. He's not exactly the world's greatest defender.
Well, I like
move on from Masataka Yoshida and trade one of your outfielders for a starting pitcher. That would allow you to sort of cycle him.
Time out.
Ton of contact, that would be a ton of power, that would be a ton of legitimate enforcement in the middle of this order, right? But again, it's going to be incredibly difficult to figure out how you're going to play this guy every day. He's not exactly the world's greatest defender. Could you move on from Masataka Yoshida and trade one of your outfielders for a starting pitcher? That would allow you to sort of cycle him in between left field and DH for the next couple of years. Yeah, I think you probably could. Right, I think that would make sense for the Boston Red Sox. Yeah. It's not going to be easy, but if you're talking about the player who would have the highest impact on this Red Sox team, it has to be Kyle Tucker. It has to be, right? He's the best talent
put him more
on the
in
open market
mention.
right now. And he kind of perfectly solves the Red Sox biggest problems offensively. I love this guy. I love this bat. I just don't know how the Red Sox make it work.
And honestly, that's why I wouldn't have put him number 2 on my list. And I would have put him an honorable mention because a lot needs to happen in order for him to fit on this team. Again, while I don't dislike it, I love it because he's the best free agent. He's the best free agent player in this market. So obviously, I'm gonna love the fact that he's saying, "Hey, go get the best player in free agency this year." Obviously, I'm gonna love it. But the fit, I don't know. I don't know how that would work. So that's why I didn't even consider him in free agency for this team. I'm assuming number 1 for him has to be Pete Alonso, right?
My number one target for the Boston Red Sox right now, the guy that I think the Red Sox need to sign more than anybody else in this free agent market, is Polar Bear Pete Alonso.
Yeah.
And this is a bit of a drastic change
agree on this.
from where I was last offseason. In fact, I said I didn't want Pete Alonso last offseason, but situations changed. I mean, coming into this year, you had Devers, you had Tristan Casas, and you had Masataka Yoshida all taking up spots. So you sat there and you said there's just simply no room. It just doesn't make sense to bring Polar Bear Pete Alonso to the Boston Red Sox. This year, it's a little bit different, right? You saw or you watched the end of the year press conference. Maybe you saw the recap here on Red Seat Radio. And the number one thing that Craig Breslow pointed out for this offense is he needed consistent at-bats with runners in scoring position. Pete Alonso this season had 41 doubles, which led the National League. He also had...
Like, look at these stats right here. 38 home runs, batted .272. That's a good batting average. Almost flirting with that .275 mark. That's pretty solid. 126 RBIs. On-base percentage of .347, slugging of .524, OPS of .871. That's great. That's solid. How would you not want this guy on your team? Like, for me, at least, you sign Pete Alonso. I'm not counting the pitchers. I'm talking about positional. He might be your second, third best player on this team. His swing is going to be so perfect for Fenway, too.
38 home runs and 126 RBIs. Yeah, I think the Red Sox could use a guy like that in the heart of this lineup, but he plays every single day with a full season in his last 2 years, and the Red Sox would kill to have some pull power righty in the heart of their order. I mean, look at his spray chart over Fenway Park. Dude would just absolutely mash here if he played 81 games. Imagine a pickup like Adam Duvall a couple of years ago or Tyler O'Neill a couple of years ago, right? Those are guys who are pull power righties who played much better at Fenway Park than they had in recent years. Now imagine that taken up a few notches, right? Imagine a guy who's already an unbelievable masher getting the opportunity to hit in one of the best right-handed hitting ballparks in the entire country, right? That's a guy that you should be having on this Red Sox team. You want to
100%.
fix your offensive thump problem. You want a guy in the heart of this order that's going to be an absolute fear of opposing pitchers. Pete Alonso is 100% that player. Now the problem with this is that he's also really bad defensively, like almost unplayably bad defensively. He got a lot of time at first base for the Mets over these last couple of years, mostly because they didn't have another option, but he's got the yips when he throws, right? He can't feel the ball and throw it to a pitcher cleanly, and he's not great defensively overall in general. This guy, most likely going forward, is going to be mainly a DH, which is a bit of a problem for the Red Sox, considering right now they got a couple of people that could clog up that DH position, specifically Masataka.
First base. I think Casas' time is done. I'm going to say it. I think Casas' time is done. One, he can't stay on the field. And two, when he is on the field, he really isn't that much of anything special. For me, at least. I mean, first base, while Pete Alonso isn't the best at first base, I think you might be okay to the point where he won't be a liability in the future for you. So, for me personally, I think Casas' time is up. And I think Pete Alonso could come in here and he could be the first baseman for at least the first 5 years. That would line up like if you would have signed Kyle Schwarber as well to be the DH. That would line up to where you could transition Pete Alonso from first base to DH. Because for me, I wouldn't offer Schwarber more than 5 years. So, that would at least line that up for him to move over to DH. But I could see Pete Alonso being the first baseman for the first 5 years of this team here. And again, you got nothing to lose with that because you don't have any first base prospects. And again, your first base situation right now in the big league level, at least, look very slim. So, that's where I stand with that. Could he play first base all 7 years here? No, I don't think so. But I think the first 5 for sure. 5 or 4 at least. That's, I think, is 100% a possibility for him.
Masataka Yoshida. However, as much as I, liked what Masataka Yoshida showed us at the end of the year, if we're comparing apples to apples here, Pete Alonso isn't really an apple, right? He's an orange. This dude slashed 272 with a 347 on base percentage and a 524 slug with 30 plus home runs, 100 plus RBIs. You're taking that over Masataka Yoshida every single day. You just simply are, right? Now, I don't know what a contract would end up looking like for Pete Alonso. I would imagine it'd probably be in that 4 to 6 year range, right? Probably going to be a pretty high AAV. I'd imagine over $30 million a year. It's a lot to give a DH. But again, you're taking a look at where the Red Sox are at. They've got a lot of players under control or under contract very cheaply for a long period of time. You can afford to spend stupid money on a guy like this who would really sort of turn around your lineup. I would absolutely love to have Pete Alonso in a Red Sox uniform. It's not going to be easy with teams like the Mets, probably the Yankees, right? Looking for a player like this. You're going to have to overpay for him, but at the end of the day, you're going to have to overpay for any free agent.
Right.
So this is a dude that is absolutely number 1 on this list. Now, if you take a look at this list overall, one, I'm assuming you guys have different lists, so let me know in the comments down below which guys that I did not have on here do you want really badly in a Red Sox uniform. But 2, I said the same thing kind of over and over again, and that said, it isn't a perfect fit. And that's sort of the theme of this offseason, right? There are guys who are going to be able to improve real key issues for the Boston Red Sox, but none of them are really like oh my God, all you have to do is slide this guy in and it's going to be an absolute match made in heaven. The Red Sox are going to have to get creative with how they improve this roster, but I do think all 3 of these guys could make...
I disagree with that. Kyle Schwarber slides in here perfectly, pause. Pete Alonso slides on this team perfectly as well. Those 2 slide in perfectly. Hey, yo, wait, whoa, pause. Kyle Tucker definitely doesn't slide on this team perfectly. That's definitely for sure. That's one where you're going to have to get very interesting in building a team that gets him on this roster. But that's the only one, though. That's the only one.
Some big impact on the Boston Red Sox. Now, I don't think you're going to get all 3 of these guys, so you're going to have to kind of pick and choose here as to which ones you want. In my opinion, Pete Alonso, Dylan Cease, or Pete Alonso and a trade, that's a really, really productive offseason, but that's just my opinion. So let me know in the comments down below, what do you think of my list? Again, do you have any changes? As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor.
I mean, the only change that I would really have on here, at least, would be swap Kyle Tucker for Kyle Schwarber. You had the first name right. You had the last name wrong, though. That'd be my only switch. Don't disagree with your Dylan Cease one. Obviously, that shortstop is still on the Padres. Ooh, that would really hurt me if we lose out on that guy. I like that he didn't put Trevor Story or Bregman on this list because, like, realistically, you're extending them. You're not signing them. I feel like this list was more so, like, players from other teams that are hitting free agency that they should target. Because, obviously, the Sox should keep Trevor Story or Alex Bregman. Or, if you're not going to keep Trevor Story, better yet, I'm going to say the dude's name. Go trade for Xander Bogaerts! Let me put that Red Sox hat back on, please. And that Sox jersey. I'll put the Sox hat on a little bit more if they have the offseason that I predict them to have, but don't have Xander Bogaerts. I'll put the hat on at least a little bit more. Opening day, that's a side note. Opening day next year is going to be crazy. It's going to be a crazy opening weekend at Fenway. Whew. Sox are up, though. They're trending up. So, let's see if the biggest question, ownership, is willing to do what it takes to help this team win. Or are they still going to be cheap? Am I going to give the same spiel over and over again? And I'm going to get shit from my group chats. So that's going to do this video here. Leave a thumbs up if you guys enjoy these videos. Subscribe now if you guys know what to do. Go check out our website. The link is in the description down below. If you guys want to be notified whenever we drop an upload, hit that notification bell so you can be the first one to watch these videos. Thank you guys for watching this one. It's been your boy Jesse, and we'll see ya in the next video. Later, guys.